Welcome to the Bay State Golf Podcast. I'm Sean Melia, and today's guest is Maria Cianchette of Sometimes Draws. I found Maria through her excellent Instagram, but I discovered during this podcast that Maria is also an excellent golfer. She talks about how she got started in the game, how she improved, and how she found her way into competitive golf, including qualifying for the U.S. Women's Mid-Am last fall at Brayburn Country Club in Newton, Massachusetts. We talk about how golf and design go together and how she combines the two in her work. We touch on her inspirations and process as well. Finally, she gives us her 5 rounds in Maine. I have included some links to Maria's work in the show notes so you can go and check out her website and also follow her on Instagram. Before we get to my interview with Maria, just a quick request to like and subscribe to this podcast wherever you're watching or listening. This episode is also on YouTube. You should head over there if you're interested in my quest to play every course in Massachusetts, as I post about different courses I've played to help folks discover new spots to check out during the season. Finally, I write a newsletter that you can find at baystategolf.beehiiv.com. Beehive is spelled Beehiiv. My Friday newsletter is completely free to anyone who subscribes. Premium subscribers have access to extra posts, including early access to my course reviews that I then post on Instagram. Those reviews also have bonus content, pictures, some additional thoughts that go beyond the Instagram caption limit that I have when I'm writing over there on Instagram. All right, let's get to my discussion with Maria Cianchette. Want to welcome in Maria Cianchette to the Bay State Golf Podcast. Maria, thanks for joining me today to talk about golf and something I'm terrible at, which is art and drawing. So thanks for hopping on.
Of course. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
You're up in Maine. A season is slowly getting started. I saw on your Instagram that you got to hit golf balls after 17 months of winter, I think you called it.
Yeah, longest winter ever. But yes, yesterday was the first day the driving range was open. Course opens Friday. So I'm ready. It's been a long few months.
Yeah, it's been brutal. Rain and cold and
freezing.
Everything else you could ask for.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you run, I found you on Instagram, Sometimes Draws. You're a designer. You don't just do golf stuff, but we're going to kind of talk about golf and drawing today. Initially, what is your relationship with golf? I always like to just find out how people got into the game. So we'll start there and then we'll get rolling.
Sounds good. Yeah. So golf story wise, I learned as a kid, but never played much. I have vague memories of doing little clinics or something as super young, but picked it up more so in high school. I had really up until then only played with my parents here and there, but kind of became friends with a few guys that were good high school players. And that was the first time I'd been around people my own age that played golf. And it was kind of okay, cool. Golf is fun and cool. And it's something I wouldn't say I picked up easily, but just being somewhat athletic and coordinated, found that I kind of got decent pretty quick and just kind of little by little stuck with it more each year. Remember, I was just grinding at the range, not knowing what I'm doing. I was 17. And one of the instructors that was up at the driving range, he must have been in between lessons or something. He was who are you? What's your deal? Because you could be really good if you knew what you were doing. So he helped me out just from then on here and there, which was super cool. And I tried out for the high school golf team, made JV as the first girl to ever make the team in the school, which was just kind of it's a cool thing to carry with me forever. I was horrible. I should not have been anywhere near a golf team, but that was the first competitive aspect, which was fun. And then I went to college and really only played in the summers when I would come home. Maine's beautiful in the summer. It's a short season, so I'd only play for 3 months a year. And then just again, year after year, just got more into it. Started playing a little bit more competition, club championships, Maine amateur. Just kind of slowly got more and more competitive about it. Moved to Texas for a couple of years. So playing year round was a game changer for sure. I think the winter that I lived there, I played 4 times a week. So the handicap dropped significantly just in 6 months or whatever. And then I moved back to Maine in 2020 obviously summer of 2020, everyone played a lot of golf up in that world. But then I really like for years just played like for fun. Some competitiveness, but I never practiced. I just like went out and played, and that was what I liked about golf. But a couple years ago, just kind of like stepped on the gas as far as like, okay, I've heard you could be good way too many times where it actually finally like clicked, and I was like, okay, stop being dumb and let's like work at this. Last year for sure was like a big year. I had played like 120 rounds of golf in 6 months. Qualified for the USAM or Mid Am. So that was incredible, which was held at Brayburn, in Massachusetts,
Yeah.
and that was just like the coolest experience ever. Last year was a big, big year for sure, golf wise. So now it's just like my whole life.
Okay. There's a ton in there. I wrote down
Yeah, I
a
know
few
that was
things.
kind of like
It's
that was
so good. It's awesome. I had no idea you played in the US Mid Am. I was there for I walked around and took photos on I think the second.
okay. Yeah, yeah. It was such a cool weekend. It kicked my ass. Like
It
it
was
was
hard.
so hard, but it was like
Yeah.
it was just such a fun, cool day, cool 2 days. Kind of had a chance on the second day. Like I was playing really well until like 15 or 16. Then I was like, okay, I'm out of it now. But yeah, it was a ton of fun. Super hard, super challenging.
Yeah. Yeah. I just remember it was windy and it was dry. I mean, we had a pretty dry
Right.
summer and that was September, right? Like middle of
Yeah.
September, I think. So
Yeah.
like fall golf at a golf course that could be dialed up. I like talking to some of the players who were not from around here were like, man, these greens are so hard to hold and to
Fairways were
putt. And
even,
they,
yeah,
yeah.
everything was super firm. It was awesome.
Let's go. Just did you play other sports that kind of were like golf adjacent growing up? Are you a field hockey player, a hockey player, or just like,
So I was a gymnast growing up, so
okay.
not golf.
Yeah.
But just kind of have a good sense of like what my body's doing, I guess, from that. And then I was a huge tennis player, so I went from like gymnastics to tennis. I mean, tennis, there's a little bit of overlap movement wise,
Yeah.
to golf, so I think that helped a little bit. Um, yeah, I kind of did a little bit of everything
Of
growing up.
everything.
Now it's just golf, but
Yeah. It's funny how that works though, right? Like just playing a couple different sports can lend itself to being good at like one sport later in life when you only have time for one sport,
for sure,
you know?
yes.
Yeah. Play like the barrier to entry into golf is hard, like any way you slice it.
Mhm.
But then being like a woman trying to get or a girl trying to get into golf, like, do you have any advice or anything just around? You mentioned having people your age to play with, and you started playing with guys in high school. But I feel like that's always the kind of the hardest part for anyone, and then I think it gets doubly hard for women trying to get into golf.
It is for sure. And I don't know if I have anything like advice wise that's helpful, but I just try to like not care. Like I like golf, so it's like
Yes.
I want to go play golf. Like when I was in college, I lived in North Carolina, and I would play here and there, and I remember going to courses just kind of solo if I had like a day off or whatever, and you just kind of gotta like push through it. Like it's like it does feel weird, especially in the South. That was like, okay, this 20-year-old girl just walking up to the course, like, what are you doing?
Hmm.
Yeah, you can feel that, but I'm like, I don't know, I can play golf. I'm here. Um, that's kind of been my experience with it anyway. Just try not to let anything be too much of a barrier.
Yeah, because there's so many men out there who don't allow it to be, and they're worse. Like I tell people who are like, I'm not very good. I don't know. It's like everyone out there on a Saturday stinks at golf.
Same.
Everyone stinks. Even if you're talking to a someone who played in the US Mid Am, like ultimately when it comes down to it, they're gonna hit bad shots. They're in this conveyor belt of golfers on a golf course. We're all going in the same direction here.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was it like just being the only girl on a JV high school boys golf team? That sounds like a
It's so
complete
silly.
experience.
It was fun. And it was like I think our season at the time is like literally like a month and a half long. So it was like I don't know, I got along with everybody. I
Yeah.
never felt like out of place. Most other teams in Maine, like at the time, like 15 years ago or whatever, not a ton of girls at all. Yeah, it was fun. I just like all I can think about is how I was just horrible. I had like a pink bag. I had like 5 golf clubs.
Oh man,
Yeah,
what were
yeah.
you shooting?
Okay, so
This is
I
great because
remember.
you played in a U.S. mid am. So
Yeah,
people who are listening who might be younger, what were you shooting as a high school golfer?
I remember being I qualified for the state tournament shooting 95.
Okay,
So that was like I was excited about that. I
yeah,
went to the state tournament and I shot 118,
nice.
which was horrible. Like that was a really bad day, even though I stunk then. I had like a 14 on a hole, just like got stuck in the woods. It was a bad situation.
Oh, that's the worst fear.
But funnily enough, the main am this year is at that same course, and I haven't played it since I shot 118.
Oh,
So there's a
redemption
little
tour.
revenge there.
Yeah. What golf course?
The Tannis, it's in like the Augusta area.
Yeah,
I, I think they have
I've
2
seen it
courses.
written
Yeah,
down. I've never
I
played
just
it.
have horror stories in my brain about it. Yeah, redemption tour. You're right.
Got to go back after what Rory did this weekend. Anyone can have a redemption at a golf course that they've had horror stories at. So
True.
I think if anything can be learned from Rory, that's one of those
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
So how did you get from, this is not what I was planning on talking about, but this is great. How did you go from shooting 118 at Natanis to teeing it up in a USJ event? Like you said, you started to practice a bunch. You were down in Texas. What things like helped you just like shave a ton of strokes off your game? Did you get longer? Did you get better short game? Was it the whole the whole package?
It was the whole package, obviously, like from the beginning to now, everything. I've always been like pretty long. Like that's always been that's helped me along the way, even when I stunk. So trying to like not just focus once I like, okay, you got to do more than just hit driver. Like you got to get better at everything else too. In the last 10 years, that's been the game changer, I guess. Just practicing more instruction, just playing more. I think, playing however many rounds a year after year helps a ton. But
Yeah.
yeah, the last couple of years where I was actually like put effort into it, it's kind of crazy how just practicing, just taking more lessons, just like working at things and not just playing is super helpful. The guy I work with, our director of golf, has been super encouraging. He was the one that last year he was like, sign up for the mid-am. Like it wasn't even on my radar.
Cool.
I actually just applied for this year's this morning. So, which is Monterey Peninsula in October. So that's
Yeah.
great.
That's
Yeah.
not a bad place to try to play to go. Where are you qualifying? Did you get the Boston Golf? Is Boston Golf hosting the women's or just the men's?
Must just be the men's.
Must just
It's
be the
somewhere else
men's.
in Massachusetts, but the qualifier that I did last year and the one I'll do this year is Laconia in New Hampshire.
Cool. What'd you shoot last year to get in?
6, I
Okay.
think. Yeah, I was the 5th spot of 5, which was cool.
Okay, that's what I was gonna. The next part, like qualifying, is so hard,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
sometimes maybe like harder than actually playing in the tournament because there's just like the relief of qualifying is like, oh, this is awesome. I'm just playing in the U.S. Mid Am or the State Am or whatever. But like
Yeah,
qualifying is 18 holes it's a hard grind.
it was, and I had a good day. I remember I stayed in a hotel the night before and didn't sleep like at all. So I like
Mm-hmm.
didn't even remember the first like 4 holes that I played. I was just like a zombie, but I mean it worked. But I think I went into it with like not super high expectations. It was kind of a we're gonna see how this goes. Not having like pressure on myself to like, oh, you gotta qualify, because I was like, this is my first time trying this. Why
Yeah,
would I get like all wound up about it? And I think that probably helped a ton. So
yeah. Any shots from that round that you remember that were like, oh man, I'm glad that went that way, or I would have been 6th out of 5.
honestly, it's like a blur. I remember thinking I missed by 1 shot, like
Yeah,
thinking I was 6th, and there was a putt on 18 that like should have gone in, and that was like the one that we were like, that should have gone in, but it didn't matter. So that's the only one that's sticking out of my brain right now, but that's like not an answer to your question.
no, that's fine. I'm a psycho, and I remember, and these things like stay with me. It's good that they don't stay with you, and you just
Yeah,
forget about them.
I don't have the best golf memory, which is weird because golfers usually have like photographic memories about their rounds, and I try to not. But yeah, it's just a weird I don't know, some stuff sticks with me, but I'm not like try not to get too wrapped up in it.
I've interviewed Frank Vanna Jr., who's like a Hall of Fame golfer in Mass and has won like basically everything you can win in the state. And he's the same way where you'll ask him a question about a round and be like, I have no idea. Like I don't remember. They just
Yeah.
I play and then it's gone. And he's like, I think it benefits me that nothing really stays, good or bad. I just like I play and then I go home.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of the way I try to lean. And like I said, that round, like I really kind of blacked out just because I like didn't sleep. Like I remember getting home being like trying to like picture the holes like in my head. And I was like, what was the second hole? Like,
Yeah.
like this was 8 hours ago. How do you not remember this?
Playing in a USGA event, kind of somewhat close to home. Like what can you? I've caddied at a US Mid Am when it was on Nantucket, and it just is like the USGA does such a good job. Was there anything that really stood out to you about like the week, the couple days that you were down there competing?
The whole week, obviously like 4 days or whatever, like Thursday, Friday practice, and then the 2 rounds. The whole week was just like so cool. And I mean, I knew it would be kind of the event that it is. Like I kind of pictured it in my head. Like I knew it was going to be very well run and like kind of feel like like a professional tournament, which it does. But I had some idea, but I didn't. You don't know until you get there. But just like walking to the driving range and they like give you the little satchel of balls or whatever, and it's like,
Yeah,
just what balls do you want? Yeah, it's so well run. There's like you don't have to guess like where you're going for anything. Great food, I remember. It's just you're just very well taken care of. It's very cool, really
yeah,
really cool.
yeah. It's a cool golf course too, just overall.
Yeah, I'd like to play it with not that setup.
Right, just go see it on a
So,
Wednesday
yeah, that'd be
with
fun.
pins in the middle of the greens and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you're also like, you know, obviously I didn't find you through your golf prowess on the golf course. I found you through your like exceptional designs and drawings and stuff that you do on Instagram. And like what obviously you said golf came later, a little bit later. So has drawing and like art and digital design been something that's just been in your blood since you were a kid, or is that something that came later as well?
So it's kind of always been something I'm interested in, just art. I was always kind of like drawing a little bit here and there. I've never been like that kid that's like always drawing, but it's something I've always been fairly good at. I went to school for graphic design. So I have a graphic design degree. I came out of college and immediately kind of had some freelance jobs here and there. So instead of finding a job like in-house somewhere, I was like, why would I not just keep this rolling? And then like I just never ended up getting a job. I was like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna freelance because it works. I have the flexibility and I was able to make it work. So I did like 6 or 7 years of just very general like graphic design work, like anything that would kind of come my way, like logo projects or branding projects or just marketing in general. But I wasn't like pumped about it. Like I was kind of doing a bunch of work that I didn't care about. And I paint on the side. I kind of do a lot of like Maine landscape paintings. There's some behind me. Um, so that was kind of like more of the creative side that I was actually tapping into rather than like the design work. And then a couple years ago, just started drawing more. Like I hadn't just like pen to paper drawn for years, and like I was either doing design work or painting. So just getting into that a little more, and then like got a drawing tablet so I could learn like digital illustration, which was something that I kind of always like when I thought about going to design school. That's like what I thought I would be doing, but then it just ended up being nothing like that. It's a lot of like typography and layouts and like all that stuff, like presentations, like stuff that's not that fun.
Yeah.
So started the digital illustration, just like jumped into it, and I was like, this is incredible. This is so fun. And then just the time when golf became a huge part of my life, like that kind of all happened at the same time. So just like golf made its way into like the stuff that I started drawing, which is when I started the Sometimes Draws account just for fun. Like I was like, I just want to share this. I don't care if anyone sees it. I just want to kind of like share whatever, silly little. I did a ton of like golf character like little animal drawings that were like silly, and I just thought it was fun. And I had a separate Instagram account for like my painting, and I was like, I don't. This feels like a weird place to share this, so I'm going to start its own thing. So that's when Sometimes Draws kind of that's when it came about, and it grew super fast, which was incredible.
Yeah. Um, so like it feels like golf and kind of art, whether it's writing or painting or drawing. I mean, you said you have paintings behind you. I've got a U.S. Open from Lee
Mhm.
Wabransky behind me from Brookline. Like, there's something about the way the sport and art kind of come together. And you saying that you did landscape painting, like even just that idea of being outside.
Mhm.
So where do you tend to get your like inspiration? Because golf gets you outside, which is great, but then you're also drawing and designing and like tied to the digital aspect. So you're also spending time probably inside. There's that dynamic too. So how do you find your inspiration for stuff?
I mean, I think golf wise, how I find the inspiration is like one, I just kind of look at stuff all the time. I'm kind of like observant, or I guess observant and like super visual person. So golf wise, like the idea was like I want to try to create golf art that's like, highlights the more kind of universal aspects of golf. Like you see all like the poster behind you, like a lot of golf art, I guess, kind of reveres like the elite golf and like, certain like those aerial illustrations that you see about like all these courses. Super cool, but I was like, I want to make something different, like something that's a little more, what are the subtle elements about golf that anyone who plays golf understands, whether you stink or if you're playing 5 times a week. Like, what are those little things that just like kind of say golf?
Yeah.
And just kind of like, I guess, just being in the world of golf, like you kind of have certain things you gravitate towards as far as like styles or looks, or whether that's like what you wear on the course or the kind of bag you carry. I don't know, there's so many like details and like styles and just visual things about golf that are really fun to mess around with and try to like put onto paper.
Yeah. I mean, you've got like uh, you've got golf clubs, you've got golf bags, you've got like the ambiance of a clubhouse and like those types of different places that you spend time before, after a round. You did a bunch of
Mhm.
really cool master stuff, right? Like I feel like the master stuff is always pulling on like these little details or call outs of just the place, and not even necessarily like this it reflects the sport, but it also is like a cool little detail that if you don't pay attention to, it just goes by. But if you sit and look at some like group of four on a tee box and you look at their bags or you look at their head covers or you look at their feet or like whatever it is, their glove, like the flags, the different flags on each at each golf course, it is crazy all the kind of different ways you do a nice job of kind of pulling a bunch of those things into your designs. How would you describe your design like aesthetic?
That's a good question. I try to not stick in like one lane specifically. Like I don't know, I guess I have kind of like a loose illustration style where nothing's too detailed, but like it has enough detail where it's like, oh, that's kind of a cool little element. That's kind of something I try to do. And I guess being a designer and kind of having a design brain, I'm always trying to like simplify things visually, I guess. So if something's kind of super complex looking, how do you strip that down and, just like illustrate the necessary parts of it? That's something I enjoy doing. I guess that's probably why I do a lot of like line work illustration, or like just a simple two-color illustration, or things like that has, I guess, kind of become more and more prevalent.
Is that I've noticed that just even across a bunch of different stuff. Is that also just to make stuff easier for I mean, in your case, you'd love someone to maybe buy something they could not just put on their wall, but maybe put on like a polo, or you're
Right.
designing a logo. And the more complex those get, the kind of messier they look on a
That's true.
shirt.
Yeah, that's true. Definitely golf logo wise, like you have to be able to embroider it on a
Yeah.
hat. It's small. So I that's definitely from a logo perspective, it's like, how do I really simplify it where you're going to be able to tell what it is when it's embroidered? Like that's just a big part of the golf industry, obviously. So yeah, I guess that's probably a factor for sure. And then obviously illustration wise, you can just get a little more creative, but yeah, keeping it that kind of simple style is that's important. Yeah.
What's your process like? I always feel like I have four things going at once, whether it's something I'm writing or something I'm trying to like do a video or whatever else, and I kind of bounce around over the course of the day and typically like finish one and then the other three kind of get pushed to the next day, and then one of those you just kind of chip away. What's your process like? I got one thing, I'm gonna finish this, or do you design a bunch of
No,
stuff and see what filters out?
yeah, I'm kind of a I don't want to say scatterbrain, but I do always have
That's I was gonna say
multiple
the same thing. Just a scatterbrain.
multiple things going on at once. I would say like during any week, I probably have 4 or 5 projects going on. And I just can't sit down and like draw or do something for like too many hours on end. I just get like sick of it and bored and need air. So having multiple projects at a time helps with that, just because I can shift, and if I get kind of stuck on something, just like put it away and work on something else that I know I can make progress on. That's a big part of the process. But yeah, I mean, every project's different process wise. I think if someone comes to me with like a fully fleshed out idea, that's totally different than someone that comes to me that doesn't know what they want, and I love doing both. Process wise, like I don't really have like a set this is how I do it, just because every project is so different. I probably have more process things that I realize that are the same always, but in general, everything's always a little bit different, just depending on the project.
Do you suffer from? I think I'm gonna make up this phrase. Do you suffer from like drawer's block? Are there times where you're just totally blocked out, and then how do you kind of work through that?
Yeah, uh, for sure. Get those like I think it's early stages of the project are the worst. I just kind of
blank
like
canvas.
yeah, you want it to be like done before you even work on it at all, and you're like, why doesn't it look as good as I want it to? It's like, well, you haven't spent any time doing it. So just like pushing through it, and just like, as kind of cliche as it sounds, like you just have to like start and just kind of be patient with it and know that it'll be done eventually. You can't like rush it.
Do you go outside? Are you like a walker?
Oh yeah, I go for like 3 walks a day in the winter. In the summer, I play enough golf that I'm
those are your walks?
those yeah, that's my outside time. But yeah, I definitely like get stuck and I'll go for a walk or whatever, try to not look at my phone for a couple hours or something like that.
Do you bring a camera with you? Do you sketch outside, or do you just like, I'm going to go for a walk and I'm going to clear my head and look around and observe and come back feeling refreshed?
Yeah, it's definitely more that.
Yeah.
Time away from whatever I'm doing is always necessary. I've never been a like bring the sketchbook and work on things in the wild. I don't think I have the like attention span for that.
Any kind of designers or artists that you like particularly fond of, or find yourself either on the internet or things you have on your walls, or just stuff that you particularly are jealous of from other people?
Something I'm jealous of is like golf photography. Like I could literally spend hours just like looking at golf photography. As far as like what I have on my walls, it's way too much of like my own artwork just because I need a place to put it. But yeah, golf, like just photography in general, I find like it's something I've never really dove into, and I just am like fascinated by all of it, and just this is why I spend so much time on Instagram, because I follow so many golf photographers. So
yeah, there's a lot of good ones out there.
Yeah.
But just like the advent of the drone, and like also makes everything just as like a game changer. Yeah, seeing things from all sorts of different angles.
Yeah.
All right, before we get you out of here, you've been kind enough with your time. I always do like to, if I remember, give my guests a little homework. I call it the 5 rounds. It used to be a morbid, like you'll never play golf again, and these are your last 5 rounds. But now I've just kind of softened the stance. You're never going to, in Maine, in your case, never going to play golf in Maine again. You have 5 rounds left. You're moving back to Texas. And how would you spread those 5 rounds out? You can play 5 times at one place. You could play 5 rounds at 5 different places. It's up to you, but you have 5 rounds, not 5 golf courses. So I will cede the floor to you to give us
All
your
right.
5.
So I definitely between 2 or 3 rounds at my home club for sure. So I'm a member at the Woodlands Club in Falmouth, right outside of Portland, and very very challenging golf course. I've been like my family's been a member there forever, so I joined when I moved back to Maine, and I think it's the best golf course up there with the best golf course in the state. I think official 100 golf courses or whatever just ranked it like 17th in Maine, and it's like eating. I think I would probably play. All right, let's say 2 at the Woodlands.
2 rounds,
2
okay.
to actually answer your question, I gotta go Belgrade Lakes for 1.
Never played there.
Oh, you have to. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Just a cool, like, you drive up the mountain to the pro shop and, like, there's always music going and it's just, like, the most incredible view of the lake. Very cool place. That was 3rd.
Yeah, 2
4th,
rounds left.
Yeah, let's go Prouts Neck Country Club.
Okay.
Very, very, very fun golf course. Super short.
Is it just 9 holes?
No, it's 18.
It's 18, okay. It's just short.
Yeah.
Just
Short,
kind of like
yeah. Super fun. Very old school golf course. All right, the 5th one. This is, you know what? I'm gonna go 3 at the Woodlands and those 2.
Okay. The Woodlands just hosted something recently. Did they? Or maybe it hosts a bunch of stuff because it is a good golf course from like a New England AM or something.
2 years ago. No,
okay.
Not just New England AM. Maybe it was the New England AM 2 years ago.
Yeah. Okay.
I remember a kid from NC State won because I went to NC State, so I remember.
Joey Linnane.
Yes.
Joey Linnane won. Yeah, that kid's awesome. You went to NC State. Okay, so there's.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Okay. So the Woodlands, Belgrade, Prouts Neck. So no Cape Arundel.
I love Cape Arundel. Cape Arundel's great. So maybe actually, all right. Scratch the 3rd Woodlands round.
Okay.
I love Waterville Country Club. Actually, I don't know if it's country club or golf club in the Augusta area. Waterville area, I guess.
Yeah.
Augusta. It's fantastic. It's so fun.
Cool. I've never heard of that one either.
Yeah, it's really, really fun.
Okay.
I would put that on the list. So
awesome.
Those 3 and 2 Woodlands rounds.
All right. That's a good list. Belgrade's always on my gotta go in the fall. Gotta go.
Yeah, it's cool.
Prouts Neck, I don't know any members, so I'm not. Roger Goodell is a member there, is that right?
He is, yeah. He has a house in that area. Yeah. My cousin is a member there, so that's kind of a cool in for me.
So what else is on your competitive docket? You got another mid-am qualifier, so you can go out to Monterey and Carmel.
Yes, that's the
awesome
big
part
goal.
Of the country. Yes.
Yeah, that's the big goal. New England Am is Haverhill Country Club this year.
Yeah. Okay.
June, so that's on the list. And then the Maine Am Revenge Tour. And this is not a goal, but I have a trip to Bandon in August. Big summer.
So you got your Bandon booked before the lottery ruined everybody's opportunity to go play Bandon. Good for you.
The Woodlands is putting a trip together that has been
awesome.
A while in the.
Awesome. Will that be your first golf destination trip?
It actually is. Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
Cool. They're so much fun. I went to Pinehurst a couple years ago as my first. I'm going to a place, I'm parking my car and just bringing my clubs to different places to play golf. It is a lot of fun. It's different than those trips where you're maybe driving around or even whatever else. But that'll be great. I'm jealous. August. What a window of time. Good for Woodlands to lock up that time of year too. That'll be sweet.
I think it's end of August or middle of August. I can't remember, but yeah, very
nice.
Very
so you'll go from Bandon, you'll come home, and then you'll go back to Carmel in September. Get some frequent flyer miles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is fun. Thank you very much. If you're ever down in the Massachusetts area and you want to play some golf,
you're not too far away.
Yeah, not too far. So great. Well, thanks for your time. Everyone should check out Sometimes Draws. Any other little plugs you want to give before we hang up now that I think about it?
No, just Sometimes Draws. I, always available for design work, and I have some prints available for wall art. So, yeah.
Awesome.
That's all I got.
Great. Yeah, follow her. You do like little giveaways too sometimes and little
I do.
discounts and stuff. So
When I
you're worth
remember, I'll do a free print Friday. Maybe I'll
right.
do one this week.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks, Maria. This was fun.
All right. Thank you.